Hello, I am Dr. Carlos Campos, President of the Pasco County Animal Service Advisory Committee. I would like to start the meeting by requesting all attendees to mute your microphones at this time and until a time when you're ready to present, speak, and/or vote on an item. In compliance with COVID-19 safety measures, the public meeting of Pasco County Animal Service Advisory Committee, previously scheduled to be held on March 24, 2021, is to be held through communications media WebEx technology. The purpose of this meeting is to conduct business on the agenda of the Pasco County Animal Service Advisory Committee. Now we'll take attendance of the meeting. Can we have roll call, please?
Dr. Carlos Campos.
Present.
Jennifer Kyle. Amber Burgess. Tiffany Bogart.
Here.
Abby Cox.
Here.
Dr. Reddy. Roe Anderson. She's here. Yeah. Sergeant Paul Downey. And Sue Ellen Szynski. Okay.
Thank you. Now is the time for public comment. Citizens are given the opportunity to comment on any proposition coming before the committee during public comment. The committee also takes public comment on items to be placed on a future committee agenda or under their preview. Due to COVID-19 restrictions and the safety of our citizens, today public comment will be handled differently than a normal Animal Service Advisory Committee meeting. First, we will take public comment from the citizens that have pre-registered and are currently on queue. The committee will then take public comment from any document submitted prior to the date of the meeting. Each citizen is awarded 3 minutes to present their public comment. It is requested that when you address the committee, comments are not directed personally against individual members of the committee, but rather directed at the issue. This ensures mutual respect for the committee members and members of the public. For those speaking with WebEx technology, please begin by stating your name and address for the committee, followed by your comment. The Advisory Committee will now hear public comment.
Mr. Hastings, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Absolutely, we can. Give me just a moment to pull up your video. I wanted you to have the full 3 minutes here. Your presentation, rather.
That may be scary.
I want to make sure you have the full 3 minutes. Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and time you, sir, and what I'll do is I'll unmute and just let you know when you have 1 minute remaining, okay?
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Perfect.
Hey, thanks everyone for letting me join. Hey, tonight I had 2 objectives coming in. I wanted to get your support on getting a vicious animal removed from our neighborhood, and talk about what got us here, at least to get me here to talk to you guys. So the good news is number 1 has been taken care of. The dog has been removed. I really want to thank Mike and his staff for doing that. They've been great working with me over the past 12 days or 11 days, whatever it's been. So I want to thank him and his staff for doing that. So those are the 2 objectives. Spencer, if you want to go over to say slide 3. And I think you guys will have this. So slide 3 would be just to talk about, yeah, there we go. What happened March 11th. I was walking with my better half, our 2 greyhounds. We were walking through our neighborhood, and at an intersection, a car came up and a pit bull jumped out of the back window and attacked us. He got Fireball, our younger greyhound, the worst. He's had 4 surgeries, the last one being yesterday. I got banged up, but his certainly a lot worse than me. So next couple of slides, we can, these are for impact, I guess, but, my injuries, and again, and the next one is Fireballs, and obviously you can see those are a lot worse than anything I had to deal with. And he's still dealing with it, and it's going to be a bit of a recovery time. So on slide 6 is just a history that I pulled together from the case files. There are 14 cases, 3 other ones reported by me. This is for your information. Again, I think the staff has this for you so you can take a look at it in more detail. Just wanted to show the magnitude. And 3 of the cases are, the last one obviously is the one, the attack. And
1 minute remaining, sir. Thank you.
Oh dear. All right. So let me get to the observations, and I'm going to run through those really quick. Communication. I think there's a gap in the process. There's no written communication coming back to the people who are having these issues, and we don't know that what to do next. So the 14 cases really, I think, could have been solved a lot quicker had we had a lot better communication. And second is the management and control of this. The red flag should have came up in somebody's desk to say this should have been taken care of and looked at. And so I recommend that you take a look at the deck, and then I think there's a lot of work to be done as far as reporting and communication with the public. And I know that was quick.
That is 3 minutes. Thank you, Mr. Hastings. Appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone.
Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Hastings? Okay, with no questions from the committee, we move on. Do we have
a question? I have a question. I'm sorry. This is Abby.
Oh, looks like we just lost him, Abby. Sorry about that.
Just wondering if he was asking for something specific, or if
Mike, do you want to kind of address that?
Or if he just wanted to make us aware of what was going on.
Yeah, he did want to make us aware of what was going on. We actually had a very long conversation with him this morning when we kind of reviewed his presentation with him, and we thought he did a pretty good job of how he put everything together. He presented a few things definitely for us to think about and how we actually communicate back to people involved in cases, and we're going to look at that. We know that some of the new technology that we may employ here this year will help us be able to generate from cases, from other activities in our software system that will actually communicate via email or text to those individuals, so that we can readily send out, like, for example, in a case, if we add notes to a case or something and they need to be involved, we can send those out to them. Because right now, it's mostly, the animal control officers phone calling. When they go out, they'll address first the complainant, and then they'll go to the offending party, and they'll talk to both of them to get both sides of the story and stuff. And then they'll go back to the complainant to let them know exactly what's going to transpire, kind of thing. And that's typically how it goes. But after that, some people want to still know, well, what's coming up, what's next. And sometimes they don't get all that information. Or they just want to know some of the simple details of a case, and they don't always get that either.
So can I ask a quick question on this? I'm just for my own knowledge, I'm curious. So I saw that this dog had 14 other prior offenses, and I think he said he jumped out of the back window of a car to attack him and his dogs, which looked pretty severe to me. What happened to the dog, and why did it not happen prior to the 15th event?
I think one thing I'll bring up real quick, Abby, and we can pull. What I'm going to do is I already contacted Mr. Hastings to let him know. Thank you for your comment. And then what I'm going to do is send you guys the entire presentation so you can review it too if we want to address it at a future meeting. The 14 previous complaints on the dog are not necessarily unique incidents. For instance, I believe back in 2017, there was an incident where the dog was running loose, and there were 3 to 4 separate complaints about one incident. So 14 complaints is still multiple incidents, but it's not 14 unique ordinance violations, essentially. So yeah.
Attacks.
Correct. And what I'm going to do is,
Dog was barking or something.
There were many loose dogs, loose dog incidents. And what I'm going to do is we'll fire that off to, we'll have a Deb fire that off to all you guys. So you have that entire presentation. And if you guys want to, you can review all of the,
and then I'm just curious, one more question. I don't think I heard what type of dog it was.
Yeah, he mentioned it was a pit bull mix. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't hear that part.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, if there not be any other questions, we'll move on. Do we have any additional public comments or additions?
Just on a quick question, because it showed that it was a $7,700 bill. So did you guys make the owner responsible for that, or how did that work out?
This particular case is currently under investigation and being reviewed by the county attorney's office.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but the thing to remember too is that these are civil matters, and that he'll have to take that to civil court to get reimbursement for that. It's not something the county actually goes after and tries to recoup for anybody. We're not involved in that part of it. The other thing about this case that was kind of unique is that there were citations issued to this pet owner, but there was no adjudication whatsoever. So that basically is a judge throwing it out. So any prior offenses would not have counted towards this, so to speak. So it makes it a little more difficult for us.
Any further comments or questions? Okay, no further public comment. We move on to the reading of the minutes.
Hey, Deb, did everybody get the minutes from the last meetings and stuff?
Yep, we received them.
Yeah, I attached them to the email.
I make a motion to accept the minutes from the last meeting.
Okay, just a point of order, we really can't vote on anything because we don't have a quorum.
I didn't realize that. Sorry.
Yeah, we can attend and certainly have the meeting and discuss things, but without the quorum, I guess you can't really vote on anything.
Oh, that's right. That's still only 5 of us. Okay, so I guess we would move to potentially approve the meeting at the next meeting, as long as we have quorum. So, okay, moving on to the next point, all business. The proposed ordinance amendment to Chapter 14 of animals.
Yeah, so we had discussed a few things. Primarily, I think in the past they've been about cat caretaker issues, some nuisance issues that we wanted to define more clearly in the ordinance. But the primary thing that was left for us to do was to try to go back and look at the advisory committee makeup. I think that was one thing that's still hanging out there that we needed to address through an ordinance change. And it was to basically move from 13 members right now to 9. And that would have alleviated, I believe, the 2 spay-neuter clinics representatives and the 2 nonprofit humane organizations. I think that's how the committee had addressed it, as trying to lower their membership a little bit. And that was in an effort to, of course, being able to, have more consistent members to attend and have a quorum. So right now, we're not moving forward with a proposed ordinance amendment. We're still wait just a little bit longer to see if some other things are developing in the state legislature right now. And if those things get shot down, we may hold fast for a little bit because we don't have to address those issues. But if not, we would probably put something forward to the board at a later date. And before we do that, of course, we'd give you guys the draft and let you review it. So,
is there anything that we can help with the state?
No, not right now. It's pretty much, I think those things are, it sounds like most of them are going to die in committees already. So we just kind of wait to see how that goes. One thing that we do have that's moving forward, though, is that affects our animal control operation, basically, and some of the cases that we deal with. Right now, people can make civic complaints, code enforcement type complaints and animal control complaints as anonymous. And a bill going through the legislature now in the state is to not allow that. In other words, you have to be able to sort of face your accuser, I guess, is the premise behind it. And certainly, you know, it would make things a lot easier for all parties that are trying to prosecute or move forward with it to have those witnesses and those complainants.
Any questions from any committee members about the ordinance? Okay, with no questions, we move on to the second point of old business, the CARES Act, laptops and wait while. Is that sound right?
Yep, Wait While is a software program that we're currently using at the shelter. We're using it for just about everything we do for folks coming into the shelter. It's part of our. It was originally done, you know, to protect the staff and everything, and to minimize folks coming into the shelter. But it has been such a unique tool for us to administer and to better our customer service efforts. When you know someone's coming in for a specific item or something, it's much easier. Just like, you know, in a vet's office, you know what they're coming in for. You can be prepared ahead of time, actually, and make it a lot smoother transaction for the customer as well. And what we found now is that we can reduce wait times in the lobby. We can do a lot of different things for people and be prepared, you know, even in our vaccine clinic and stuff. So that really helps us out. So we are going to continue with that. We actually, through the CARES Act funding, we've got money that we went ahead and purchased it for 3 years. And so we're that confident in how it can operate for us in the future. And as far as getting the laptops and things like that, we actually got the laptops, which I'm using one now. I'm sure maybe Deb and Spencer are using one, and Doc, our vets are using them. Which helps us also, you know, it gives us the ability to work from home when we need to, or work from remote locations. And then, of course, just be a little more proficient, because some of these laptops they give us now were actually better than some of the devices we had on our desks. And we got rid of most of those, it seems like, and we can use our laptops with multiple screens and things like that. So it makes us all a little more efficient, I think. The other thing that CARES brought was a lot of people surrendering their desktops for these laptops throughout the county. There was a surplus of desktops that were in really great condition. And what we found is some of our customer service locations throughout our shelter, and some of our other workers that need more powerful computers than just the WISE devices which they had. This is really going to help us moving forward, because now we're getting those desktops, and that'll help power our transition to a new software system that we'll talk about in a little bit. So.
Any questions from the committee? Okay, with no questions, we move to the next point, the shelter report.
Sorry, I had trouble unmuting for a second there. Hey, everyone. Just want to share my screen for a second and go over a quick PowerPoint here. We had talked briefly last meeting about the Human Animal Support Services and good night, Riley. This Human Animal Support Services program that Pasco was joining. Unfortunately, last time we met was last June, and this program was definitely in its infancy. As a result of COVID-19, what happened was everybody went home. Everybody was forced to go home for work. And what happened was in our country, shelters emptied, which was a beautiful thing. Everybody took dogs home. Everybody fostered. It was a wonderful thing. A year later, what we're starting to see is a lot of organizations start to fill back up. We start to see numbers creep up. This organization, through American Pets Alive and Maddie's Fund, wanted to create a program that created one, sustainability for keeping animals out of the shelter and focusing and reallocating pet shelter resources to community-based sheltering programs. And so we were an organization that jumped in on the ground floor. We quickly created a strategic plan focused around the 11 elements of HOS, most of which are community-based programs. And we've talked to a lot of other groups about this. We're really excited about our participation in this. What it does is it ensures that our resources, one, are going to the animals and the people in our community that need it the most. And two, we're focusing on getting animals out of the shelter, keeping animals out of the shelter, creating, nurturing, and preserving that human-animal bond for our citizens and pets in our county as much as possible. We've created a lot of programs and boosted up a lot of programs that we already had as a result. Obviously, one of our huge ones is our Leave Them Be program, our community cat program. The two doctors on this call that we have are fixing about 30 or 40 community cats every week already, guys, and we're getting them back out into the community with the help of our animal control officers. Our vaccination clinic went from 1 day a week to 2 days a week after COVID. Our pet transport program, which is represented by that middle photo there, in 2018, we were sending about 30% of our animals to rescue organizations. Now we send about 70% of our animals and live outcomes to rescue organizations. We have our SNP program, obviously, and we are currently looking at boosting our pet safety net program in an effort to keep pets with their owners and ensuring we maintain that human-animal bond. A great example of a community program, during COVID, we had a dog come into our care. And I think it was a poodle mix, if I'm not mistaken. The required legal length of stay for a stray dog in our care is 72 hours. We held this dog for about 6 days, and then we sent it to a rescue group. About 12 days into its stay, which it was no longer with us, a couple rescue groups contacted us and said, we found the owner. Unfortunately, that dog had already moved on to a rescue group, had already been adopted out, and unfortunately, that pet owner did not get their dog back. There was a little bit of outrage in the community, but we were really inspired by 2 rescue groups in particular that approached us and said, hey, this sucked. How do we prevent it from happening in the future? Right? And we thought that was awesome. They wanted to help. And we said, man, you know what? If that dog was microchipped when it came in, we would have called the owner in the field. The dog wouldn't even have come to the shelter. We would have called the owner in the field. Officer would have driven it right back to the house and they wouldn't have paid a dime. So the rescue groups listened to that and each of them individually donated $500. We matched that donation and have already held 2 free microchip clinics for the county. One in the central area of the county. We held it at our shelter in December, and then one in the east part of the county in late January. We held one in Dade City at the fairgrounds. And we're actually hosting our 3rd one, sponsored by another new partner of ours, Cuddly.com. It'll be held on April 17th at the Galen Wilson Complex in Newport Richey. We've already microchipped for free over 300 pets in the community. We're hoping to do another 100 to 150 at our Newport Richey event to match our 400 to 500 animal goal. And we just thought this is an excellent way of, one, trying to maintain that human-animal bond and get animals back to their owners through pet retention, and also getting those rescue groups involved and integrated into our life-saving programs in the community. So just one example. Another one thing that we don't like to focus on, but obviously happens, is the results of these programs. We always want to focus on the why, and that's that human-animal bond. But as a result, we start to see these amazing things happening in the shelter. And you guys know we've had all these incredible things happen. The one we really like to focus on here is that top left box, and that's our average LOS. That's our length of stay for animals in our shelter. You can see in 2018, when we were taking about 8,000 animals into our care, our save rate was very good. But our length of stay was also really high. The average animal was staying for 27 and a half days, and we would routinely have animals in our care for 3 months, 6 months. There was a particular dog we had in our care for 1 year. And when that happened, we really made a switch as an organization and said, we really don't want that to happen anymore. Through expedited surgery and 2 incredible veterinarians that we have on our team, a rescue-centric model, and then ensuring that resources are going where they need to go. We've now lowered our length of stay in 2020 to just 5.5 days for animals in our care. And I'm proud to say that animals in our care in 2021, October 2020 through today, 6 months is less than 3 days in our care. So animals are coming into the shelter and staying for less than 3 days, and we are still maintaining a 94% save rate. And you guys are going to get all these stats too. Some other great things that have happened recently. Due to our great success, we were actually tagged by Best Friends Animal Society as a mentor shelter. We went through the Service Enterprise certification with them, which we let you guys know about last summer. And I'll kind of talk about it a little bit moving forward. But we are actually tagged by them as a mentor shelter. So what they'll do is they'll assign shelters in need based on certain organizational departments. We're working currently with the Peoria County Animal Protection Services in Peoria, Illinois. We're mentoring them in field services. And then our great Sarah Sukram, our volunteer coordinator, is currently working with Shelby Humane in rural Alabama, and she's working with them on our volunteer program. And so not only are we helping the people and pets of Pasco, but our organization, our programs, our services are helping shelters all around the country. As a result, people are really starting to take notice. The National Animal Control Association and the Florida Animal Control Association honored both Officer Mike Northrup and Gina Botticello last year. The national awards, Mike Northrup, our own Michael Northrup, won the National Animal Control Association Animal Control Officer of the Year. There are over 12,000 animal control officers in the country, and Mike Northrup right there is our Officer of the Year. And then our lovely Gina Botticello, who you guys know helps us send over 2,000 animals to rescue every year. She was actually named NACA's Animal Welfare Professional of the Year. And so we're really, really proud of them, proud of the recognition that they received on behalf of Pasco County. Some other great things that have happened. I already let you guys know we were selected as a Tier 1 shelter for the Human Animal Support Services model. And what that means is we have some reporting things we get to do with them. Mike and myself get to be involved in a lot of great directors meetings as far as brainstorming and things like that. We also have team members involved in working groups. Some working groups include One Health, industry engagement, government municipal funding. Dr. Glenn's involved in a working group as well. Sarah's involved in a working group. We have a couple others, dog play group Jessica's involved in. So working groups throughout our operation. And then we also have a potential for grant funding as well. So we're really excited about that. Like I mentioned, the NACA and the FACA awards. Gina also won the 2020 Pasco County Public Services Team Member of the Year, and our very own shelter supervisor, Jessica Every, won the Pasco County Public Services Leader of the Year. We were pretty proud of that in 2020. Some recent grants that we have received or soon will receive. We got the 2020 Family Animal Friends Grant worth $25,000. That's the license plate grant through the tax collector's office. We do have that grant funding coming, hopefully, fingers crossed, any day now, $50,000 as part of the Human Animal Support Services program. And then Mike and I I got word late last night because of the time change, that we were the recipients of the new Petco Foundation, which will soon be rebranded as Petco Love. I don't know if we're allowed to announce that yet, but Petco Foundation will soon become Petco Love, and we're going to be receiving a $25,000 grant through their organization as well. We are also going to be presenting at this summer's Best Friends Animal Society Conference on behalf of our volunteer animal control program. They're really excited about that, and they want us to share that with the country. I already mentioned the mentor shelter. I myself was elected to the board of director of the National Animal Control Association, which is pretty cool. And then I also mentioned we were selected, or certified rather, as a service enterprise organization through Points of Light. So just a couple of cool things we've accomplished since the last time that we have met. One of the awesome things that we're looking at doing through Human Animal Support Services is taking some resources, possibly that $50,000 fund, or reallocating current resources that we have into some really cool community programs. And these are some of the ones that we're looking at. Boarding facility partnership. We're looking at folks that are coming to our care that maybe are going through a hard time because of COVID. They've been out of work. They're looking for new housing. And they say, man, I really don't want to give up my pet. I'm looking for a new apartment, a new house, but I don't have one right now and I can't keep my pet. We would have a potential program with a local boarding facility that we've already contacted and agreed with cost, that they would house that animal up to 14 days for that citizen while they looked for a new place to live. So that person would be able to keep their pet. Animal housing supplies. This is a great story that we actually had a great experience with. Stella, our great animal control officer, was out in the field, and there was animal control complaint of loose dogs. She went out there, and instead of impounding the dogs, she knocked on the door and asked the homeowner what the problem was. And she said, man, my fence is busted and I simply can't keep them in. So Stella, instead of impounding the dogs, went to Home Depot, bought some supplies, and helped this poor girl fix her fence. And now she got to keep the dogs, the neighbors happy, and we maintained that human-animal bond. We're really looking at bolstering our pet food pantry, and we're looking at community partners to help assist with that. And also, we're looking at increasing the medical support that we have to our citizens. Oftentimes, Dr. Glenn, Dr. Bogart, they're willing to do these one-time surgeries to help folks fix their animals for spay and neuter and keep them in their community. And then also we see on occasion, folks come to the shelter, hey, my dog has a broken leg. Hey, my cat needs an eye removed. I really want to keep my pet, but unfortunately I can't afford it. We would have a fund to be able to do some of those surgeries and help people hang on to their pets. So just a couple of quick programs. We have a lot of things on the horizon in this year's upcoming budget. We're looking at increased partnerships with ASPCA and their Spay Neuter Alliance. We're looking at acquiring customer service back from Pasco County so that we can increase our service excellence. Obviously, we're going to continue the work we're doing with our Human Animal Support Services partnership. And then we're actually looking at 2 great programs in potentially outsourcing our licensing to increase pet compliance and pet retention, and then accessing a new animal management software to help us really increase what we can do here at the shelter in communication with the public. So a lot of great things on the horizon, but that was a quick little rundown of what we're doing there. And I'll go ahead and stop sharing my screen there. But any questions? And the stats are good. I didn't want to bore you guys with stats today, but the save rate's 94% and the team is crushing it. Yes, Ro.
I have a quick question on your microchipping.
Yes.
We had an incident where a dog came in. It was microchipped, but it was never registered by the new owner. And it turned out that it was 10 years down here from Missouri.
Sure.
When you do the free programming or whatever, how you do it, it still is not going to help if the new owner does not register with 24 Pet Watch or whatever.
Yep.
Isn't that a program that is still in place where even if we microchip the animals, they still have to be done when the adoption is done by the new owner?
2 things with us, and you guys have the access over at SPCA as well. With the PetPoint animal management software, that microchip is automatically registered to the new owner upon adoption of the animal and implant of the microchip. So when we do these free microchip clinics, we enter all of that information into PetPoint, and the information for the pet owner is automatically uploaded to PetPoint. The part 2 of that is if your organization is purchasing the microchip like ours is, regardless if that information is updated by the pet owner later in life, your facility and our facility upon implant is always going to be the implant facility of that pet microchip. And so further research of that chip can allow people to figure out who the true pet owner of that animal is. And we've had it both ways for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, we never did find a new owner. But my second question, I want to be quick, is your support when you were talking about a program. We're taking in animals maybe up to 14 days. We also had an incident, you probably saw it on the news. It was a big house fire, and the family asked us to take in their dog until they could find another place. And we did do that, but about after a month of feeding the dog and taking it to the vet, we found out that they had moved into their parents' home. They didn't find a place of their own. And they only maybe came once to visit the animal. And I had called them and she said, well, you know, we have a lot of fencing underneath the house. We got to get it out and put it up so the dog can, the dog was always an inside dog. And they really wanted to put a fence up to put the dog outside, but they really weren't moving very quickly. They were kind of taking advantage of the situation. We had to try to remember that we're not a boarding facility. And that's why I'm glad that I heard this, because maybe you could give us some pointers on how we want to do that. But giving them 2 weeks would not have worked because they had a house fire and they were looking for a place.
Absolutely. We understand that through this program, these are limited resources. And obviously the facility that we have, we're, like you mentioned, we're not a boarding facility. And what we're looking at really providing is true short-term options for people who really, really do want to keep their pets, right? So the way we've structured our program through the SOP and through the partnership with the boarding facility is when that animal would enter the boarding facility, it would actually be physically owner surrendered to our organization. So we would be the legal owner of that animal. After 14 days, the pet owner did not return for that animal. It would still be property of Pasco County, and then we at that point would be able to alter the animal and adopt it out to a new pet owner. If at any time during that 14 days, the pet owner were to approach us and the animal is still in our care digitally, even though it's at a boarding facility, we would then return that animal to that pet owner. We understand that through this program, and we actually have already had this through this program, where the pet owner has every intention of reclaiming that animal. And unfortunately, the circumstances are just too much. We're there to then provide that pet owner and say, hey, we understand it's not going to work out. We're going to find a new owner for this particular dog. And that's why in the beginning of that partnership, the dog belongs to Pasco County, and that's signed upon relinquishment of the animal to our organization saying, hey, if it doesn't work out, we're going to go ahead and move forward after 2 weeks with adopting this little one out.
Quick question.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that because we did have the person sign the animal over to us as it was an owner surrender. So legally we did own the dog. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad we had that writing because at one point they called it back and said, listen, it's best that the animal be adopted. It's getting kennel stressed and was getting very skinny. It wasn't doing well. And it was at that point where she was determined, because we were going to adopt it out that Saturday. She had called back maybe a day before and said, hey, I found somebody to take care of the animal. She really loved the animal, and she had a son, I guess, that was using it as a service animal or maybe emotional love. So again, I'm glad you said that because legally we did own the dog and we could have adopted it out, but we gave them every opportunity because of their circumstances. So in that instance, we could do that within that a lot of times. We'll give them the opportunity to take the dog back, right?
Absolutely. That's going to be our plan moving forward with that program. Like I said, it's not structured as of yet, but we have an SOP written and we have a partner in mind. We just don't have the cash yet. So we haven't quite started the program, but we're pretty excited about it. Abby, did you have a question?
Yeah. So I think I heard you say like after whatever period of time you own the dog and then you alter the dog and put it up for adoption. So if somebody brings their dog in and they're not neutered or spayed and they're there for like this boarding period, I'll call it, is there a way we can work into that animal be neutered and spayed?
Absolutely. I think we have right now the way it's written is upon relinquishment, that animal would receive intake vaccinations, right? Dr. Bogart or Dr. Glenn, I believe that's the way we have it decided. But I don't see why we couldn't word it that way. The animal would belong to Pasco County. So that would be something we could very easily put in there. Yeah.
I mean, that's our, the big picture here, right? Is we need to get as many animals spayed and neutered as possible. So if somebody's coming to you with their dog, which I love that idea, I got, removed from where I'm living and I had to find a new place, blah, 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 blah. But if that dog isn't neutered or spayed or cat or whatever it is, I think that would be a good opportunity to, do that.
Absolutely. The way we initially wrote it in as the vaccinations was because we knew the boarding facility would require certain vaccinations before being boarded, but I don't see why we couldn't go back and look at that. Absolutely. Mike, we got to get you a light in your office, man. What's going on over there? Does anybody else have any other questions about the shelter report? Or would anybody else like to chime in? Dr. B, Dr. Glenn, anybody?
Just very bright.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for the time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hey, you all are amazing. I just have to say that. Pasco County Animal Shelter, Mike, Spencer, Gina, all of you are just amazing. I mean, amazing. I'm so happy that you're here.
Thank you, Abby.
Okay, I guess we move on to new business. It looks like you touched on some of the stuff, but I guess we're going to deep dive into some other things. So, okay, the first one is RFP for outsourcing licensing program.
You're muted, boss.
I think I clicked on it twice or something. So the RFP going out to outsource licensing is, we've been looking at this for quite a while. Anybody that's a veterinarian has a vet clinic and has worked with the county knows that our Pearl system, which is the in-house system we use, was created by our IT department. It's going through quite a bit of transition right now. They're actually launching the Pearl 2.0, so to speak, as it's been a major upgrade and it brought on online licensing and a lot of other options for folks to buy their licenses and get those rabies certificates uploaded. We're trying our best to take off some of the work that the vet clinics may have to do in selling the licenses. But still, there was the compliance rate that really has not changed over several years, no matter what kind of input we put into the system and things like that, and trying to encourage other folks. It's just not moved the needle much for us. So we wanted to look at a lot of the companies that are out there now that can provide those services. So we're sending out an RFP for them to come back and tell us, what they can do for us and how much they would charge us for it. And then we can look at those companies, and some of them are pretty creative in what they can do and how they can manage and incentivize and make things easier for everyone, both customer, vet clinics, and ourselves, to take over these programs. So that we felt like that would be a great option for us down and moving forward, especially as the county grows. The volume of licenses we hope will grow. That means our revenue will grow, and we can actually kind of add to our program more. So that's where we're at with that. That should be on the street, and then we should be hearing back not too long, I think, from some of those vet clinics. From those licensing programs. The other one that we have is the Chameleon software, which is probably one of the premier software management systems as far as shelter management goes. It has a little bit of everything, just like PetPoint does. PetPoint is our current system. Interesting enough, Pet Health Services, who owns PetPoint, a few years ago bought out Chameleon. So they have both programs now, and one is sort of a free program. If you want to upgrade in that program, you pay a premium price and you get some more options in the program, which is what we've done and how we use PetPoint right now. Chameleon still offers quite a bit of technology that we want and haven't been able to use in PetPoint. I mentioned earlier automatic emails and things like that can be sent out. They utilize some GIS technology as well for the officers in the field and for case management. So there's quite a few things that we're looking at to upgrade into that. So that's kind of what we're looking at. But unfortunately, again, even though Chameleon is a very high-end product, our purchasing department basically did not feel like it was enough to be a sole source purchase. So we were going to go out and bid to actually see who's going to provide the best product for us. So, I think, Spencer, did you touch on budgeting? I know you mentioned a little bit.
Just a little bit on the reallocation for some of the pet support services.
Okay. So this year in budgeting, of course, in the last few years, the county's asked us to have a flat budget, which means, basically come in no more than what you were the year before. To do that, to have any increase, you need to submit a business plan initiative, which is a business plan for how you can actually either fund what you want or how much it's going to cost the county and what the return on that's going to be. And also how it affects, customer service and services you're providing to the county. What's the value? So we've come back and basically, Spencer mentioned that we were trying to take over customer service back from the county. A few years back, in the downturn in the economy, the county was looking at centralizing some things, and they did customer service that way. We lost some people at Animal Services. This was all prior to any of us being there currently. And so customer service was taken over by the county. Well, they took over a lot of customer service. And unfortunately, when you do that, you really cannot specialize as much as you want to. And you don't necessarily provide the service or the product that the customer is really looking for, the detail. Even though we've provided scripts and training and stuff like that, there's still a lot of gaps, and we get a lot of complaints from our public and our users about the customer service piece. Well, we don't necessarily want to blame anybody else for that. So we kind of have to take that. And unfortunately, we kind of don't want to take it anymore. We want to get a better product for the customer. And we also want to reduce the times they have to call into the county and get transferred. There's no reason for that. So we're asking, one of the key things about this is that we actually have to pay internal costs, which they call indirect cost, for services that we utilize in the county. So we're paying money for that customer service. Well, what we'd like to do is make sure our funds can be reallocated back to us. We can get our own staff to actually take over that customer service. We took back dispatch last year, and it's worked really well, really improved our dispatch to our officers and stuff. So we think we can do the same thing with customer service, and we're hoping the county will trust us on that and let us do it. And that we're asking for probably 2.5 FTEs or two full-time, one part-time person. We were also asking for another additional ACO, and we put a business plan together for that as well. We want to make sure the county understands that the population growth means animal and pet growth in the county. Average household has 2-point-something pets. So that's a lot more pets coming into this county when we make a jump of, 50, 60,000 people or more. That's a lot of pets coming in. So we need to be prepared for that. And the officers right now, we're tasking them with a lot more things in the field, a lot more customer service type issues. Our typical calls going out, it's not just a drive in, listen to the problem and write a citation or something. It's a process that you go from one person to the next person. It could take days if people aren't available. It's a lot of time and effort into resolving these cases. And so we do need additional people to help us with that caseload.
Mike, how many ACOs do you currently have?
We've got, there's actually 10 folks in that department. One of them's a supervisor, of course. We have one that focuses primarily on rabies control. So he deals with about 140 to 160 bite cases a month. So that's a lot that he has to deal with. And he gets some assistance from those officers in the field. We have a field training officer that trains officers and reviews cases and actually participates in cases in the field as well. We have one humane investigator. That was a new position we sort of added by taking one of our current animal control officers, getting her trained through university system, where she went, I think, three semesters literally to get her certification. And she got that. And that was the first time we brought in a humane investigator to the county, which was great. And then we have the rest of the officers, 6 of them in the field, or 5 actually. We added a what we call an ACS, an animal control specialist, about 2 years ago. And we thought that would be a great stepping stone for anyone moving up from perhaps an animal care tech who wants to be an animal control officer. They could be an ACS in the meantime and handle some of those cases like nuisance complaints, things like that the animal control officers didn't need to be involved with. And they didn't have to write any citations. They could just go and maybe transport some animals and do some other things while they're learning to become an ACO. And so we added that one as well. So.
What's your current estimate for pets in the county?
Oh, wow. 504,000 between dogs and cats. I actually just ran the numbers for the Florida Benchmark Consortium.
Yeah, it's a lot of pets out there. And that the way you calculate that, if I remember correctly, Spencer, it does not account for community or feral cats.
It does not. That's just owned pets.
Yeah. And that's based on population or households. So.
Yeah, it's a formula based on households through the Florida Benchmark Consortium and the Florida population estimates. We can get you guys those numbers if you want.
So
let's put it this way: the
one
best
ACO officer per 5,000 pets, basically.
Yeah.
per 50,000 pets.
Yeah. Yes, you're correct. 50,000.
Yeah. Yep.
That's if we get our supervisor in the field.
Of course.
Yeah. So, one thing for sure, there's a lot of need for more veterinarians in this county, and a lot of need for low income or low cost vet clinics as well. That can help with some of the needs. Because we still, to some degree, we have a lot of retirees and a lot of low income folks in our county that everyone needs that kind of break on some of those things, especially when they're having 2 or 3 pets. And we know that some of the elderly folks, they sort of surround themselves with pets, so they may have 5, 6, and it makes it very difficult for them.
Any questions about from the panel about Chameleon or the RFP or budgeting?
No?
What's up, bro? Unmute yourself there.
I have to ask Mike a question because I refer a lot of people up there. They're the low cost. Are you familiar with Pet Love up in Brooksville?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you can spay, neuter, whatever, microchip, completely vet a cat for under $30 and a dog for under $50. I remember I brought a Labrador up there who was about 50 pounds.
Hey, Ro, real quick, because I know we're short on time. I'll answer your question without you even. I'll answer your question without you even asking it. Unfortunately, Pet Love is located in Hernando County, so as Pasco County Animal Services, we cannot recommend their services or utilize them. Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Sorry. Thought I'd ask.
No worries at all.
Next topic is the county strategic plan for 2022 to 2025.
Yeah, so quite a few of our team has been involved in work groups and stuff for that. That's the county. The current strategic plan is going to expire this year, so or next year, and we're preparing for that. It's going very well. They're looking at all the main, pillars of the strategic plan. They're looking at all the strategies that we use to attain those goals that we have for the plan. And then, of course, they're looking to definitely boost the KPIs or the measures in which we show results for those plans. And that's one of the big factors this year, or this plan going into it, is in the previous plan, we had some great goals. We're keeping those big goals. We're changing the strategies a little bit, I think, throughout, but we want to have more productive measures that show results. And in previous years, some of the measures we had were not necessarily tied to the strategies that we're trying to employ or the action plans. So that's why we really want to get that focused and narrowed down, so that the community, as they see what the county's doing moving forward, they can be satisfied knowing that their money's well spent by what we're producing for them.
Any questions? Okay, I guess the last thing is, which Spencer, you kind of touched on earlier, the staff awards. I don't know if you want to review that.
Well, I don't know if you guys heard, but we won some awards. No, one last thing I'll say about it is we were really honored this week. We waited to announce the awards publicly because we were able to bring in front of the board. Chairman Oakley of the Board of County Commissioners actually sponsored 2 resolutions this week for Officer Northrup and for Ms. Gina. And we were able to bring it in front of the board. They were really, really, really impressed with the work we were doing, and Mike did a phenomenal job. Neither of those people like talking in public, so Mike did a phenomenal job at kind of accepting the award on their behalf. They were there, but But Gina and Officer Northrop both don't like talking in public. So we were really proud to present that. And we always love when we get to go to the board with great things like grants and awards and things like that. So pretty proud of the team.
Yeah, the nice thing too is the National Animal Care and Control Association sent some very nice glass plaques for them. Really nice, and it was a pleasure to have their board member Spencer Kahn over there in person to actually hand those out as their representative. So that was pretty cool.
And Mike made it very clear I was not on the awards committee nor had any voting power in that. That was all the public and the ACOs. So they won the awards fair and square.
Yeah.
Wonderful job, guys, year to year.
I know.
You're impressed with everything that you do and literally running on a shoestring budget. So it's impressive to say the least. So kudos to everybody there, obviously.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, it's taken a while for us, I think, but we've got the right people in the right jobs right now that love what they do. They work together so well. We've got some outstanding volunteers that we're integrating into a lot more positions out there that no one thought you could use volunteers for at a shelter, but it really came down to us just dropping down the barriers and saying, we're going to trust you to handle this information or to perform this duty. And we've even got volunteers that are going in the field now, driving county vehicles and transporting animals for us and things like that most people said, you can't do that. But yeah, we got it approved and they're doing it. They're doing a great job at it. So it's a great team effort.
Any comments from anybody?
Pasco County's lucky to have you.
Go Pasco. We love
I
it.
second that. Being a board member for as long as I've been and seeing the things that you guys have gone through, it's, it really brings a tear to the eye because it's amazing, truly amazing. And all the job that you guys are doing for not only the pets in the county, but also, their owners and really looking after that human animal bond that we all love, especially as veterinarians. It's to be commended, which you guys keep winning awards because you're rocking it. So
thank you.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, thank you.
Really, no, thank you.
Can you tell me how many board members you have on your, how many board members has PCAS had?
Technically, we don't have any board members. We work for the Board of County Commissioners, basically. So there's 5 of them, and they represent the citizens in the county. We work with we're a part of the Public Services branch, and we've got a great leader there in Kathy Pearson. We're uniquely positioned in that branch, I tell you, because some of the departments that are in that branch are things like libraries and parks, which do fantastic work in this county. But also, we're there with human services, veteran services, senior services, and those are the user groups and the citizens that we're going to really focus on in this HOS environment and with the elements of HOS to reach out to them to make sure we can, help those folks out, because those are some of the greatest need groups we have in the county, with homeless folks and elderly folks, our veteran community, things like that. And as we can gather more resources, get more grants and do more things, we can expand some programs that we're working with. With the volunteers supporting us in this great effort now, we can do so much more than we ever did, especially the way Spencer was talking about rescue organizations, like SPCA Suncoast and Humane Society of Pasco and other great rescues in our area. Like, we even go down to Pinellas and we have partners down there, rescue organizations down there, the Humane Societies and the SPCAs and stuff. All over the area are helping us move animals out of the shelter quickly, which provides greater resource opportunities for us. We have these resources, and we got some of the best vets, I think, in the county that do amazing work. And if they're not doing the work, they find partners. They've tapped into friends, some classmates and things like that, that can help out with specialized surgeries and things like that we've never thought we could ever do before. And so given all that and getting those animals out as quickly as we do, it allows us to focus on some other programs, which are really going to help our community, I think. And we're very proud of this team. So,
Thank you.
Okay, next on the docket is setting the date and location for the next meeting. According to the schedule, the next meeting is to be held May 12th, 2021 at 7:15 p.m. The meeting will be virtual, otherwise will be held at the West Pasco Government Center, which address is 8731 Citizens Drive, Newport, Florida, 34654. Future meetings beyond that will be August 11th and November 10th. So if anybody can get those on your calendars, obviously, provided we don't have anything like a hurricane or something else.
Yeah, a hurricane would not be good.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, can we change the time of the meetings to maybe 7 or 6:45? I wonder if that would help attendance. 7:15 is kind of late. I understand it has to do with schedules and like Dr. Campos, I understand your schedule. But is it possible to move it up a little bit?
So the meeting has been 7:15, gosh, since I've been a board member.
And have we ever had like a great coming together of people?
Yes, okay. I mean, we've had, full board meetings, many times.
Okay.
Unfortunately, and fortunately, we have now a great staff at Pasco Animal Services, as everybody can see from the amazing awards and everything. So in the past, we really had to step up as a committee and create and make a lot of recommendations, and that really brought in obviously a lot more participation. So I feel like we're a little bit of we're suffering because of success. There isn't as much as we have to advise on, and obviously really just more now than ever being cheerleaders for all the wonderful initiatives that the county and Pasco Animal Services actually is doing. So
okay, I was just curious because all the other meetings that I have and go to are much earlier than 7:15. So I thought maybe that was a reason why we could attend. Really, I know we had to change a meeting because there wasn't enough people and things like that. So I was just wondering. Thank you.
Yeah, I think, Abby, one thing too, we've only had this will be the third meeting in the last 18 months because of COVID and because of, people with schedules and things like that. So I think, Dr. Campos, we appreciate you getting those dates out early so people can throw them on their calendars.
This is Greg. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry that I was late. I had all kinds of technical problems. So I'm on so we can start the meeting now.
Just in time, Greg.
On my phone the entire time, but you couldn't hear me, and I had technical problems here. So sorry about that.
Well, great to see you.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, I think Greg is the health department representative. I think in this time that we've been separated for a long time through COVID, there's been a couple of different changes in organizations. So there is some new membership coming on board, and clearly some of this technical stuff that we're using today, with Zoom and stuff like that, it does throw people off a little bit. I'm sure there's probably some board member out there, or committee member out there right now, still banging on his computer trying to get in to the meeting or something. So we'll try to be patient. Hopefully next time we'll get all that figured out and help people ahead of time so that they can just smoothly make that transition into the meeting.
Yeah, maybe it would be a good idea to say, you know, if anybody has any reservations or issues with getting on virtually, we can help them ahead of time so we can get on virtually. Because I know getting on the first time virtually is intimidating, I guess, right? So
yeah, definitely.
Maybe to reach out to those people to find out if that's what the reason is, and we could help them in setting up like little mini test meetings or something to help them get on. And by the way, had my COVID vaccine. Johnson & Johnson, one and done. Me, Michael, and our friend Jan on Monday.
Oh, great. Congratulations.
So, and I only have one question before we adjourn. Is there a way to send out a post-meeting email to the board members just to see what roadblocks they had for not attending?
Yeah, we sure can.
And then we can maybe, look into that for the future, obviously. We want to try to get as much participation as possible, obviously, be in technology or scheduling or anything. So, and Abby, I am a little more flexible now. Things have changed in my life quite a bit too with the last 12 months. So I'm not working as much as I used to, which is good. But at the same time, obviously, still doing the veterinary thing. So, yeah, I mean, I could, definitely be more flexible with changing things around if that's one of the roadblocks, obviously, with the rest of the committee. So, we can definitely look into that. I'm not opposed to doing it. If it is going to be something that will be, make the meetings more successful, certainly. So.
Right, good.
With that being said, it's anybody wanting to do something, which I cannot do.
I think without a vote, you just get to end it, Doc.
Okay. Well, I guess. Yeah. Okay, then I guess meeting adjourned at 8:27 p.m. March 24th, 2021. Thank you.